I don't know if you've ever heard of someone by the name of James Randi, but he's a very famous skeptic. He's a former magician who exposes the fraud behind many extraordinary claims. People who claim to have paranormal abilities, telekinesis or mind reading, or fortune telling, or you name it, any kind of paranormal ability that people claim to have, any sort of insights that they claim to have that other people don't. He has something called the James Randi Challenge, where he has $1 million prize for anyone who can demonstrate one of their claims in a controlled experiment. Okay, and so far the prize has gone untouched. The skepticism about what someone says should also be based upon the probability of what they're saying is true. Now, we know through induction the people who claim extraordinary things have an extremely low probability of being right, infinitesimal. So it's healthy to be skeptical. You've examined the evidence. You've examined the historical record of everyone who has made those sorts of claims before. And you know that the probability is nearly zero. And to me, that is where the difference between being a skeptic and not having a dogma and being naively agnostic. Okay, so naively agnostic is someone who does not consider probabilities, only possibilities. So if you're considering only the possibility that someone could be right in making some sort of extraordinary claim, then you're not thinking about the probability of that claim actually being true. So, of course, you're open to the idea that someone could present evidence, but, in lieu of any evidence, there's no reason to think that the probability of that claim being true has changed at all, just because you're hearing it from a different person, okay? So there is a difference between being skeptical about extraordinary claims and being dogmatic, okay? I think the people who are dogmatic are the ones who refuse to accept evidence, who are skeptical about particular kinds of evidence, but never reflect that level of skepticism upon their own observations, upon their own evidence, upon their own claims. I find that, religious people, creationists, for example, are do this in spades, that they're hypercritical. They try to find flaws in carbon dating, flaws in tree ring data, just flaws in all the historical evidence we have through proxies, and as a result claim that, you can't prove evolution because there's all these flaws in the evidence. Therefore, we're going to go on believing on this ridiculous story taken from an ancient manuscript. They never apply the same level of skepticism to their own beliefs, okay? And they never consider the probabilities. The probability is, throughout history, we've had one religion after another claiming supreme knowledge of the origins of our universe. And there's so many different religions. What's the probability of any of them being true? It's very close to zero, all right? That's why a skeptic will not accept someone else's claims about God or some sort of divine revelation, is because we know that there have been many historical figures who have had divine revelations, so-called divine revelations, and each one is a different story to say, okay? Each one is different. Now, if all these people who had divine revelations and they all said the same thing, well, that might be a different story, all right? But they all say something different, and they can't all be true, which means that they're all probably wrong. So, anyways, that's the difference between skepticism being a dogma, okay, which is what you're trying to do for your own purposes. But I don't see skepticism as a dogma unless it's done as a form of denial, where you're not living the same level of skepticism at your own beliefs that you are at others, okay? And that's where it becomes dogmatic, when you're skeptical of others' observations and evidence, but you never examine your own beliefs, okay? And that's something I call denial. So anyways, that's all I'm going to say for now. Interesting video, good topic, and thanks for watching. Bye.